Hi there, namaste, and welcome to another spiritualistic pick a card reading. Before we get started, I want to let you know that I am so thankful for you and I love you. Today we're taking a look at what you're currently being shown. So, please take a deep breath, drawing the inhale up your spine, creating a clear and open channel. And as you exhale, allow yourself to come into clear knowing which group or groups has your message in it for you today. We have group number 1 on the left with parallel lives. Group number 2 in the center with solar plexus. And group number 3 on the right with soul family. As always, the timestamps are listed down below in the description box, as well as my personal information and access to my Etsy store where you can find Reiki sessions, crystal jewelry, lots of little manifestation goodies, and personal readings, and of course my light codes oracle deck, and all of the fun little things that I like to make, books that I've written, etc. So, again, I'd like to thank you so much for being here, let you know that I love you, and I will see you at your reading. Namaste. Hi there, Group 1. Namaste, and welcome to your reading. We're taking a look at what you are currently being shown, and you selected the first group with parallel lives. Now, time is happening simultaneously, so what we're really taking a look at here are places where we're looking at energies connected to you. So this might be something that is perhaps seeping through your relationships, that is seeping through the patterns, the cycles in your life. You might be interested in past life regression or finding your star family or things like this. It's important to remember that past and future are happening simultaneously, and that time is relative and exists in the fourth dimension. So with that being said, what you're being shown right now is that you are alchemizing certain things in your life. You're taking certain energies and weaving them together, drawing them together, so that you are finding the ascended or higher vibrational or mastered version of this energy. And as you weave these two things together, any energies that are in between, such as old memories, old hurts, confusion, old habits, old patterns, things like this, these are getting released from your energy field. So let's take a look at the light code for your parallel lives, and let's see what you're currently being shown. Okay, this has a lot to do with you opening up to faith and releasing the outcome. There's something in your life where you're being called when you perhaps are being drawn towards remembering that some things are not as big of a deal as you might be making them out to be, and that certain things come really naturally because whether it's in this life or another one or a parallel reality, a parallel dimension, a past life, it's important to remember that if there's familiarity somewhere, it's for a reason. If something is being highlighted, it stands out. If something is flowing really easily, really naturally, there's a reason for that. But the fact that something is flowing really easily, really naturally might be causing a bit of perhaps chaos or disruption or confusion or lack of clarity in other areas of life, or it might create perhaps a pattern of overthinking. It can also create patterns of, like we said, confusion. So what you are being shown right now is the fact that when one thing is highlighted, is brought to the forefront, it might draw up, like it might pull some of the dust up. They're showing me what is usually taught in Reiki 1 as an example of how Reiki works. Now, with Reiki, you are sending energy from the universe or asking the universe to place the energy in the afflicted area or in the afflicted person. And it doesn't just have to be for an ailment or an affliction. It's just the way that we're describing it here and now. And it's often described as when you have a river and you want the bottom to be all nice and clean. Now, when there's a strong current, when things get shaken up, the dirt comes up from the bottom and then a lot of it will get cleared out, but then eventually the dust will settle. It will be cleaner than it was last time, but it's going to take a few strong currents, a few times to shake it up for that energy to be completely smooth, completely cleared out. So what you're being shown is that when something is being brought to the forefront, when it's being shaken up, you have something that's being brought to the top of the water. It's being brought to the forefront of your awareness. And you are cleansing out energies that might be underneath it. Say you're lifting up a rock and you see there's an ecosystem under there. So you see that this energy that you're dealing with right now, what you're being shown is lifting up, perhaps some will say pulling back the veil, some will say lifting up a rock, some will say sifting through energy, whatever resonates with you thematically here. You are actually being shown that It is now time to clear something out when it comes to past, present, future, parallel lifetimes, when it comes to patterns, when it comes to overthinking one thing and underthinking another. Before we get into your tarot cards and we see a little bit more about what you're being shown right now, I'm going to pull a self-exploratory question for you from my guided self-exploration journal just to see what we can kind of think about. Describe why you deserve a gold star. Interesting. So if you were to look at something that you're doing really well right now, give yourself a pat on the back, or give yourself a little bit of credit for something, what would that look like? Okay, you're being called to maybe take a look at not the fact that something is difficult or the fact that something is chaotic or confusing or you've done this before or how does it connect to a past life and how can you dig in there. You're actually being called to look at how far you've come. How have you done a good job? When did you take some time for yourself today? Or perhaps, how did you allow yourself to honor yourself in difficult situations? How did you perhaps show up when you didn't want to? How did you perhaps navigate a situation that you didn't know how to navigate or you weren't quite sure about? The reason that you deserve a gold star is going to be different for all of you, but you will notice that giving yourself credit in one area is going to be a manifestation of clearing of that dust, clearing of those energies that are hidden under that rock, clearing of that veil of illusion. So with the parallel lives card here, you're being asked to give yourself some love. Spend some time with yourself, giving yourself some self-love. Spend some time with the universe as a whole, giving the universe some love, and kind of let everything sift and balance out in that way. Allowing yourself to be in a state of consciousness where you love the universe unconditionally. You're grateful for the universe. And because of that, that's a mere reflection of the way that you see and treat yourself. And since everything is the universe manifest, you seeing everything in your life, every situation, hot, cold, easy, difficult, chaotic, confusing, calm, zen, all of these things, kind of neutralizing this balance point here. Of course, easier said than done, as we are looking at energies that have accrued and accumulated perhaps over time, energetically, or perhaps energies that you have called yourself to come here to clear in this incarnation, in this lifetime, on behalf of yourself, your other lifetimes, others. Take it however it resonates with you, your journey, your belief system, etc. This is a general reading. I'm just here to read the energy for you guys. But let's get into what you're being shown right now, and perhaps take some time to journal or just spend some time thinking about why you deserve a gold star. So it's clear right off the bat, group number one, that whatever it is that you've been going through, working on, experiencing, anything, it seems that you could afford to be giving yourself a little bit more credit. It seems that you're being shown how far you've really come, that you've perhaps developed, grown, evolved more than you think that you have, and that you're okay where you are. I mean, sure, we're always growing and learning every day. That never ends. But there's also this point where what you're being shown right now is that some of the things that may have burdened you in the past, you've healed from them, or it might be time for you to accept the fact that that you deserve happiness. Oh, okay, I see. What you've been unpacking lately, or what you've been dealing with, whether this is something like doing some deep inner healing work, perhaps on old traumas, old past lives, things like this, or you've been doing something like building a business, setting up a relationship, trying to grow in maybe emotional maturity or mind, body, spirit, take it however it resonates for you. It kind of seems that there is this pattern of striving and then healing and then maybe hesitating and just being ready to put the work in to reach success, but kind of this energy of uncertainty about, is that landing point really truly there? Can you really truly heal from that? Can you really truly achieve success in this area of life? And maybe theoretically, conceptually, the answer is yes. But when it comes to looking at your desire, listening to your intuition, waiting for everything to pan out, and trusting that you deserve things to pan out, not just how you want them to, but better than you think. This is where we're circling back around to what you're being shown right now, is that you deserve, just in a general blanket statement sense, you deserve nice things too. You deserve to give yourself a gold star. You deserve to look at the times where perhaps your head was saying one thing and your heart was saying another. Perhaps part of you was saying yes, part of you was saying no. Perhaps you didn't know how to navigate a situation, or it took you 10 years to set up that business, or whatever the situation pertains to, or area of life, or several, of course. What you're being shown right now is that all of the burdens that you've been through, the striving, the difficulty, the confusion, the lack of clarity, the perhaps karma that you've been going through, all of this clearing up the dust, it's worth it. It leads you towards your happiness. You're also being shown that on the other side of healing is positivity, wish fulfillment, your personal desires. Now there's kind of this dynamic coming up that I'd like to share with you quickly that I'm noticing here in the cards. And we see someone who is dealing through perhaps a negative energy, an uncomfortable energy, and of course everything is relative. Yes, no, bad, good, light, dark, okay. But we're looking at something that is uncomfortable, that requires a lot of effort, that requires a lot of healing, that requires a lot of patience, energies like this. And we see this energy of wanting to show up, maybe get everything done, be the best version of you, and kind of taking perhaps the emotion out of it, or taking the personal aspect out of it, or something like this. Doesn't have to be this, like, specifically. Let me share the rest of the dynamic. There's this energy of perhaps healing through something, finding that blank slate energy, and being comfortable there. And what we see here is you being shown that you can open up to a positive experience in this area of life. Say you're used to working really, really hard at your job, and maybe it has you in survival mode, or it has you in just, you get 5 hours of sleep and that's what it looks like. You work your butt off, but you like what you do. Maybe you do, maybe you don't, but it pays the bills. You're good to go. Getting to this place where everything is balanced. But because you're kind of in the central point, because maybe you are stepping out of survival mode, maybe you're noticing that you have a hard time, for example, spending money on yourself. Maybe you're noticing that you have a hard time doing something fun with that Saturday. And maybe you feel a little more inclined to do something productive, like going to the gym, or working on that passion project, or starting a side hustle. Perhaps you are so used to getting hurt in relationships, or not getting what you need, or not getting taken care of in any manner. And now that you are in this place of neutrality, now that you have done the healing work, now that you have done the self-exploration, you're being called to look at yourself and give yourself a gold star, so that you know that even if you have experienced the same burden in 10 past lives, maybe you have been dealing with the same problem since you were a kid, maybe you deal with the same exact energy for a long time, it's taken you a long time to work through it, but what you're being shown is that you have been working through it. What you're being shown is that you have been growing. You have been coming further along than you think. And just because you are used to looking at your toes, like looking at the ground, putting one foot in front of the other, it doesn't mean that you don't eventually end up at the destination. And when you do get there, it's okay to look up and enjoy the view. So what you're being shown right now is that when you have cleared a certain energy, when you're on the other side of a burden, when you're ready to be comfortable, not just making yourself comfortable being uncomfortable, for example, not just being comfortable being in survival mode, or getting to a place where you're outside of that, or getting to a place where you are not around people who treat you negatively, or around energies where you have to give more than you receive, for example. What you're being shown specifically is that now it's time to open up to positivity. Not just, oh, this is good because it's not bad, or this works, or this is neutral and this is balanced. You might be experiencing some energies activating around your sacral and solar plexus chakras at this time, perhaps also your root chakra. What you're being shown is that it's okay for you to want a little bit more than you're asking for yourself. We did ask, where would you give yourself a gold star? And we have the sun coming out, which is a gold star, of course. So with that being said, you're also being asked to take a look at what evolved, in a sense, desires are you beginning to have? Or would you like to explore about yourself, about this life? Where do you want to go from here? And this isn't from a place of, I just want to be done with this energy, or I just want to be out of the situation, or I just want to get to a place where I feel different one day, or I have the autonomy to act different one day. You're taking a look at, oh, I know that I don't deserve this, or maybe I do, or why did my soul, what is the karma, what's going on here? We're stepping out of this. We're stepping out of this. And so what you're being shown is that you have the decision to make, to trust that you are in the right place at the right time, not just for productivity's sake, but for the sake of your wish fulfillment, for your truest desires, and to explore what that means. What you're being shown is that you might not see the path ahead directly, but your intuition is maybe casting an anchor out a little bit ahead. Your intuition's leading you into a situation and perhaps showing you what will happen. Like, say, your intuition led you to a hiking trail, and it's also showing you perhaps how beautiful the view is at the top, or how beautiful you'll feel when you get there. But you don't necessarily see the path ahead. Maybe it's dark, maybe extenuating circumstance exists, whatever. What we see here is that you are trusting that you're being led to something, you're being led through something, and I'm hearing that song, baby, this is what you came for. That the waiting, that the striving is worth it. You are worth it. This is not just you roll up your sleeves and you get that paperwork out and you start that business and you spend years on it, sure. But why did you start a business? Was it to give back? Was it to have more comfort in your life? Was it to have more time for yourself? Why did you do that healing work after that relationship hurt you so bad? Well, your inner child that was hurting, you did the work, and now you feel better. You feel normal. But your inner child now wants to express, it wants to play, it wants to let these perhaps unexplored desires be seen, the hard work to get a gold star. It wants you to see not just personal fulfillment in a way where fulfillment equals good enough or fine or out of a hole. It actually equates beauty, like beauty. It equates bliss. It equates to not just gratitude for gratitude's sake, or like we had in the beginning, like neutralizing everything so that the love you have for you and the love you have for everything else in all your situations, that might have been perhaps a survival technique that you used. Or it might be something that you're being encouraged to implement now so that you can look at the negative and see it in a bit of a positive light, see the positive and see it maybe in a little bit of a more balanced light. And with this blank slate, with this clear, equal energy, say, so from this place, from that shaken Etch-a-Sketch, from that place where where that rock is lifted up and you can see the ecosystem underneath, what beauty lies there? What beauty lies there? Maybe you experienced a negative energy or something that was uncomfortable. Now you get to experience a positive energy or something that is comfortable. And you walk through that neutral place to get there. You walk through that central point, that balance point. And when the pendulum swings to the left, oftentimes it will swing to the right. And there's kind of this energy of it hitting right in the center and wanting to keep it there because of fear of, well, what if I bring the pendulum to the right and it starts swinging back the other way? What you're being shown right now is that there's a reason why the pendulum was being so slow and controlled, perhaps, in the way that it was moving towards that positive energy, towards that neutral energy, because this is not something that chaotically swings left to right. Whatever this energy is, this area of life, this past life karma, this wish fulfillment of yours, whatever the situation is or energy is, this isn't something that chaotically swings left to right to left to right. This is moving the needle in a more permanent way. So that when you experience that positivity, when you experience that pleasure, when you experience that energy of knowing that you're worthy of something, knowing that you deserve something, knowing that something is beautiful, you can let go of that energy. It's not just from a place of having released something, it's coming from a place of bounty, of true abundance, not just the lack of lack. So what you're being shown is, yes, that you've been in the right place at the right time. Your intuition's been leading you where you want to go. We do have 222 coming out here, so shout out to those energies. But something here, yes, of course, happened for a reason, but the reason was not just to teach you a lesson. The reason was not just to heal something. It was not just to be productive. It was so that you can experience what it feels like to, it's like being outside on a hot summer's day when you're really hot and it's sweaty. Becoming comfortable again doesn't mean you don't get to step inside into the air conditioner and enjoy that feeling of the other side of the equation. And that's what you're being shown, is what it feels like to step into that refreshing energy. And it might feel a little bit foreign to you. It might feel like, well, if I cool myself off now and I go back outside, then I'll just feel hot again. You're being called to explore the enjoyment. You're being called to explore giving yourself credit for how far you've come. You're being called to explore, yes, perhaps past, present, future, parallel lifetimes, but look at this thing that's being highlighted in your life currently. See the ecosystem underneath it, and don't be afraid to untie that knot that perhaps was underneath. Because you'll notice that when you have a string that is not knotted up, you can then choose what you want to do with it. It can become a scarf or a sweater or a bow. And there's no right or wrong answer with what you create. Whereas before, when you're learning a lesson, if you're taking a test, there will be a right answer. There might be a little bit of discernment needed, right? Maybe all of the above or true, or the answer can be both C and D. But when you have a blank slate, you don't have to just stare at that blank page. You get to decide what goes on it. And there's no right or wrong answer. So what you're being shown right now is that you deserve nice things. You deserve good feelings. You deserve security. You deserve, perhaps even for some of you, creativity. You deserve luxury. You deserve expression. You deserve being given to. And that does start with yourself, exploring where would you give yourself a gold star. Maybe you're being really, really hard on yourself because you procrastinated something, but the thing that you procrastinated, maybe you needed to take care of yourself. Maybe you procrastinated it because you were tending to a loved one who needed your help. Maybe you procrastinated it because you needed to take care of yourself, your mind, your body, your spirit. And when you are honoring the self, you are honoring all that is, all that has been, all that ever will be. And this is how you have been learning to clear out all of these energies beyond the veil, all of these energies of past, present, future, parallel lifetimes. And kind of breathing in this clear space is showing you what this feels like. But this decompression is opening you up to expansion. You're being shown that you get to make what you want out of your life. You do get to co-create. And on the other side of this healing, on the other side of this lesson, on the other side of this pattern, on the other side of this past life, on the other side of this energy, it doesn't just become okay. It becomes great. And you're the one that gets to choose what that means for you. And of course, the universe has beautiful little surprises here that your intuition is leading you towards, your heart is leading you towards, that the universe has predetermined for you, you have predetermined for you. Again, take the nuances as they apply to you specifically. But the color that you pick up to paint on that canvas, the universe wanted you to paint. The color that you pick doesn't matter as much as you think it does. But the fact that you're painting might matter a lot more than you think it does. So, what you're being shown right now is that not only do you get your wish fulfillment, but it's no longer in a place of maybe chasing a dangling carrot while you're running on a treadmill. It's no longer in a place of the universe knows better than you what you want, which in a lot of ways it does, but you also deserve that self-exploration. You get to choose what that is. And in a way where if something feels good for you, if it feels right for you, if it feels like you're honoring yourself to explore it, then that doesn't mean that there's something that you need to be overanalyzing so that you can learn from it, so that you can grow from it, because you're desiring something and you should neutralize that so that you don't feel attached, so that you just detach from your mind, your body, your spirit, and you just walk through life because the universe knows better than you. You're being asked to take a more personal, sensational, literally sentient, clairsentient feeling, perhaps emotional, perhaps abundant, perspective, action in your life. And trust that you have the capacity, or you have already finished walking a certain road. You have already followed the yellow brick road, but now you're in Oz. You get to explore Oz. And sure, maybe there's another destination after this. There are things you will learn. There are things you will experience. But something not being bad doesn't make it good. And you honoring the fact that you can always learn, you can always grow, you can always evolve, doesn't mean that you don't get to honor how far you've come. And that is what you're being shown right now, Group 1. We do see on the future side of your spread here a little bit of indication of, let's say, synchronicity, being in the right place at the right time, following your intuition, following the good feels, maybe not knowing what that path looks like while you're walking it, but knowing that you feel drawn towards it. We have Two of Pentacles and the Eight of Swords. We have confusion, not knowing the path ahead, a little bit of overthinking, perhaps stress and anxiety about making a decision, but sandwiched in between is the intuition card, the High Priestess. Knowing that you are receiving the experiences that are divinely led for you, soul medicine, soul food. And we see that you have been taking your medicine, you've been taking your soul food, and it's been perhaps leading you through situations where you need to learn, you need to grow, you have to experience something uncomfortable so that you can learn how to navigate it. And so we see this hesitation towards maybe not perhaps forging on, but perhaps towards letting yourself feel the sensations that go along with that, allowing yourself to experience attachment, because attachment to detachment exists too. I know it's paradoxical and it's a big idea, but we selected to be here in our bodies, and we have a very somatic, visceral experience while we're here, and it's not for no reason. Now, it is important to detach. It is important to ascend and evolve and grow. And spiritually speaking, you already know what you're doing. You're leading yourself through the situation. You see from at least one or two perspectives where you're headed and why. When it comes to feeling it somatically, letting it feel positive, not just detaching and being in a place of neutrality. When it comes to being in the right place at the right time, you know that you've led yourself there, but you're also aware that you might not be leading yourself into something that perhaps you are being called out of, or perhaps you're being called into something that will be awesome or pleasurable or beautiful. And when we experience something like this, we will inevitably detach from it, because as we walk the journey, we do detach, and then we attach, and then we detach, and there's no right or wrong answer. We all live our own lives in our own order, in our own journey. All the chakras exist. They coexist for a reason. We see perhaps not wanting to dive into having desires, not wanting to dive into exploring unfulfilled desires. They say, at least in the yoga community, that unfulfilled desires leads to temptation, and that leads to ultimate human suffering. This is in yoga, it's in Buddhism, it's in Taoism, it's even in the Bible in a few places. And this is not untrue. It also doesn't mean you don't get to experience the positivity and experience the bliss when something that perhaps you will have to ultimately detach from comes into your life. And maybe it's yes, maybe it's no, but your higher self is leading you somewhere because you are in the right place at the right time. So you're being called to look at how you're doing a good job, and how you deserve to experience positive experiences, how you deserve to not only have done the work, not because you have the accolade of persevering through a difficult situation and finding your way out of it, but how you deserve, entirely irrespective of that energy, to just experience nice things. And that might be why we have things coming up about past, present, future parallel lives. Why we have things coming up about what is your true desire, your true wish fulfillment. Your intuition's leading you to something, but you don't know. So, again, we do see in the future some synchronistic moments. We do see you receiving those answers. We also see you being called to deep dive and explore yourself. Not in a way where it's, again, perhaps productive or somatic or akashic or, again, just productive in a sense, but almost entirely in a way where you are trusting it fully, entirely. And I love that this card is purple too, because it does indicate having faith in detachment, having faith that you can be detached even when you are walking through something that is asking you to be attached. Having faith that if you choose to have faith in something, that in and of itself is an attachment. And you know how to step back from that. You're being called to step into it. Let it not just be okay, let it be amazing. And that's what you're being shown right now, Group 1. I hope this helps shed love, light, and clarity on your situation or situations. If you would like more information, I have tons of reading on my channel. Feel free to pick another pile or explore a reading from one of my many beautiful, talented friends here on the YouTube verse. As always, I'm so grateful that you're here. I love you. I want to take a minute to send you some love, some good feels, some gratitude. And if you would like, also send your other fellow Group 1s some love too, just so we can create a little energy hug. I love you guys. I hope you have an amazing rest of your day, week, month, year, and incarnation in this beautiful, magical realm. And I will hopefully see you next time. Namaste. Hi there, Group 2. Namaste and welcome to your reading. Today we're taking a look at what you're currently being shown, and you selected the second group with the solar plexus card. I want to thank you for being here. And the first thing that I'm picking up here is that you might feel a sense of mission or a sense of unlimited love, gratitude, compassion for yourself and those around you. And with the solar plexus here, this has a lot to do with your sense of self, as well as your confidence. It has a lot to do with your own self-perception of what it is that you deserve. I would say what you're worth, but I don't love that turn of phrase. But essentially, what you feel you deserve. And you're going to notice right now that what you're being shown is that you can actually increase your sense of worth. It seems as though there are perhaps situations in your life right now where you are being too gentle. And this isn't to say that you being a nice person is wrong, but with the solar plexus card, they're showing me situations where you say how you feel, and someone goes, well, that's not how I think you feel or how I think you should feel, so I'm just going to discredit your authentic expression. They're showing me situations where you set a boundary and someone literally does not care about your boundary, and they perhaps think that it should be different, or it's just easier for them if you change your boundaries, like someone to take from you. You're going through perhaps a hard time and you need external support. And with the solar plexus, a lot of times, a freshly emerging solar plexus right after healing, and we have heal, release, ascend. So you'll deal with something that perhaps was hurtful or painful, perhaps an old wound or something like this. The releasal part will often look like maybe letting go of people, letting go of belief systems, letting go of old identifications of self and things like this. And what we're seeing is that in this process right now, you are being shown that you deserve more than what you're getting in a current situation, that there are people around you who are absolutely fine taking what they want from you, even though you might be very open and honest and clear with your communication, even though things might be like, if you might need external support, you might only be able to find it from within, and you're being encouraged not to do that. The solar plexus card coming out is actually interesting because what you're being shown right now is that you deserve better than your current situation. You might feel as though there's something where you're running around in circles. I'm hearing that phrase, same person, different body. We'll kind of meet the same person over and over and over again, or where you're kind of experiencing different situations where you are trying to open up, maybe trust somebody new or something like this, and they just keep trying to get you to sell yourself short so that they either maybe can put in less effort, or perhaps it makes excuses so that they don't have to do the work and heal and grow. Here, with the solar plexus card, we see someone who is very comfortable with their divinity. And this light code here, it's indicating that you are very authentic, but you're also at a point in your life where you're not going to put up a fight, and you might be around people who are very angry and instigative. But we're also seeing here that you are being shown how to stand your ground in situations where your boundaries are knowingly being crossed, where people are knowingly mistreating you, where they're knowingly speaking to you in an absolutely unacceptable way. And the, double entendre here is the fact that in these situations, you don't want to be like them, and they know that, and so they're taking advantage of that. Say someone is expecting one thing of you, and so they're using absolutely unacceptable language, they're behaving absolutely abhorrently around you. Maybe this is a situation in your life that is entirely out of your control for the most part, and you don't want to experience a situation. Perhaps there's absolutely nothing you can do about it. Perhaps you don't want to be treated in this way by another person or the universe, and at the same time, you don't want to behave like them. So when they are getting really angry and telling you that they're right and you're wrong, even though you can see through it, your job is not to say it louder. Your job is to tap in with your solar plexus. You're being shown, yes, that you can walk away, and also that your sense of self has nothing to do with the senses of selves of those around you. They're showing me situations, perhaps you may be dealing with a narcissist, someone with anger issues. You might be in a situation that's totally out of your control. It's showing me a post I saw the other day that's like, I don't care how you feel. And that's the whole premise here. Someone not caring how you feel. Not in a way where that's able to be manipulated and turned around. In a way where this is perhaps the sticky zone here. If somebody needs you to care how you make them feel because it's all about them, but they don't care how they make you feel. Because if you feel upset, then they're upset that you're upset, and so this is manipulation tactics. And it's not always conscious, it's not always unconscious, but what we're seeing here is perhaps the same person texting you 50 times in a row, even though you communicated with them that that's inappropriate. Or you said, I'm doing everything that I can do. And you are doing absolutely everything you can do, and some things are truly out of your control. It seems that the universe at this point in time is showing you things that are either out of your control or in situations where there's someone who is trying to make sure that they're the one in control around unhealthy solar plexus energies. And what we see here for you is perhaps a bit of, making up for these energies around you by holding extra space. Someone has, say, an overexerting solar plexus, an overactive egoic solar plexus, and you are being shy about it, you're being humble. Maybe this is something that looks like feeling bad asking for help, even though it's someone's job to help you. Feeling bad already doing everything that you can do in situations that are actually hurting you and no one else, but regardless of whether they're hurting you, you shouldn't have the space to experience that. And these things are not true. And so what you're being shown right now is that you are worthy of so much more than your current situation. And this can be, of course, in a job. It can be in your family. This can be around like a romantic partner. This can be in any area of life here. We're seeing here that the solar plexus is what you're being shown right now, because there's an area of life where you might be feeling pressured, forced, or manipulated into settling. And we have this inner knowing here. The solar plexus that is confident, it is solid. And the second that someone becomes confident and they're, say you're a people pleaser for a long time. This can be an example that fits this energy as well. Say you're used to being a people pleaser. The second that you start becoming aware of this and you decide to be confident in yourself and honor yourself, then all of a sudden you might find people who are saying that you're egoic and you don't care and whatever that entails. And in reality, this is someone who's been manipulating you, who probably knows that they've been manipulating you, not caring that they've been manipulating you, afraid that their source has been run dry. Your energy, some people call these energy vampires. Their supply has been cut off to your energy, or they're afraid that's going to happen. So they try to put you in a bubble, back you up against a wall, put you in a corner, and demand your energy in the time, place, and manner that they demand it now. And being approached in this way at all whatsoever, regardless of the circumstance, is absolutely unacceptable. And so here we see with the solar plexus card, you not wanting to be like them. So you perhaps not wanting to take up space. We see you not wanting to argue with someone whose baseline nature is being argumentative. So even though you don't agree with their standpoint, you're also not going to be convinced to pretend that they're right and you're wrong, because that's a way of mental manipulation. What you're being shown right now is that you've done a lot of work on your solar plexus. You are aware of when there are vampires around you. You are aware when someone does not have empathy. You're aware when someone is using you, when someone is abusing you. You are aware when people around you are seeing you do well and they take it personally and they get jealous or they get really mad or they start treating you poorly. That is, of course, a red flag, but that is not an indication for you to stop being a better person, for you to stop showing up for yourself, for you to stop asserting those boundaries. This is an invitation for you to release the situation, and you might feel bad because you don't want to be like them. But the thing is, they know that, and that's exactly why you may feel that your back is up against the wall. Now, we see that this is something that is beginning situationally, and I do want to bring this energy introspectively because that is how I work and also how I feel we can explore and crack this open and get to the bottom of it. I'm going to honor what comes through, but before we do, I'm going to take a prompt from my guided self-exploration journal just so we can see what Spirit wants us to focus on a little bit, okay, in this energy. So I pick here. Where is your body the least comfortable? What comes up when you're uncomfortable? Okay, so this is actually really interesting. Most of these prompts are really, really positive. Talk about past lives, talk about your inner child, and these are about where in your body is uncomfortable. What comes up when you're the least comfortable? Does this bring you back to a parent who mistreated you? Does this bring you back to a situation where you might be afraid to say no or to set a boundary because you've been treated poorly in the past? Is this a situation where maybe someone is yelling at you, they're speaking down to you, they're being unacceptable towards you, but perhaps you're afraid to go there because maybe there would be consequences. Maybe that's something that comes up. Maybe you're noticing that there's a little bit of tension, maybe in your jaw, in your shoulders. Maybe you're doing little finger taps as anxiety ticks. Identifying what's coming up here. They're showing me a situation in my own life, gently, where I have a friend that I absolutely adore. I love her so very much, and she lives not very far from me, but enough that we kind of have to plan it and make it a whole day or make it a whole thing. And I adore this human being with my whole heart. I've always loved her. She's been my best friend my whole life, pretty much. And life keeps creating situations, I suppose, and I'm not excusing my own self-responsibility because I think the universe is a reflection of ourselves. However, it would make me so very happy and feel like I'm honoring myself to go grab some lunch with my dear friend. And there are people who have been needing me right now, and it's an emergency on their end, and it's kind of bringing me to that phrase, an emergency on your part, or poor planning on your part does not calculate an emergency on my part. As soon as I decided to start making plans with my friend, I texted her. We were going to sit down for lunch, and all of a sudden, all of my tech stopped working. I was trying to upload personal readings, a ton of personal readings, and uploading YouTube videos takes a long time. I'm usually very ahead. And so some of my content wasn't posting. People were sending me emails that, regardless of the situation, was very rude to be sending me. I was reaching out, I was posting about these things on all my social media. My tech went down, I was having problems with my apartment, and people were like trying to come in and take my energy, and I was in a place where I needed help, and so people were showing up and like inserting themselves into my life and trying to take things like this. And at the end of the day, I didn't see my friend. I didn't get to see her. And it's not because I'm not willing, ready, and able to be responsible, but that sometimes you can do all that you can do. But when your back is up against a wall, you'll notice who shows up and sees it as an opportunity. And this is what you're being shown. So we're being asked in these situations, in your situation, and whatever's coming up here, before I get into the tarot, with these prompts here, you're being asked to take a look at your own warning signs from your body that you are being mistreated. You might be very compassionate. You might be holding space for people when they're telling you something that is very, very jarring because you understand. You might be someone who is very go with the flow, but that doesn't mean you don't have boundaries. You might be somebody who knows your worth, but you're never going to show up and tell somebody off because everybody's worth everything. It's kind of this perspective where if I deserve the entire world, you also deserve the entire world. We all deserve the entire world. So maybe you'll give yourself the world. Maybe you'll give the people in your life the entire world. But that doesn't mean that that's what you're going to be receiving back from other human people on this planet. Again, our mind creates our reality. So what comes up when you're uncomfortable? Is it perhaps a friend or an old partner or a parent who had no problem mistreating you, maybe even had fun with it? Is it a time where you needed help and you asked for help and the response was absolutely begrudging? These are external situations. Looking inside of yourself, what comes up? How do you feel when you are uncomfortable? Do you not want to talk? Do you want to sleep? Do you feel unworthy? Do you feel unconfident? Do you feel your sense of self quaking? Or do you feel that it doesn't go anywhere and you remove yourself from the situation by maybe shutting down, dissociating, walking out of the room? None of these things are right, wrong, good, bad. We're just asking them to be identified. So let's get into the tarot so that we can see what you're being shown apart from situations and feelings. Let's take a look at this in a more spiritual, perhaps Akashic viewpoint. Okay. What is group number 2 being shown with their solar plexus? I'm hearing the song Flawless by Tyler Jane, which is beautiful. I have that on my affirmations playlist. If you follow me on Spotify, you can listen to it. I listen to that every morning after I meditate when I'm in the shower because it bumps me up. But it says, I'm flawless. And by that, I mean I'm perfectly flawed. Ain't nobody gonna tell me I'm not. And it's kind of a song that's like encouraging you to honor that, you're not perfect, but also that you are, and that everyone is like that too. you having confidence doesn't take confidence away from someone else. You having success doesn't take success away from someone else. You being kind doesn't take kindness away from someone else. You might have a lot of people around you with like energies. You might be feeling like people around you feeling jealous or feeling angry or feeling things that you are not experiencing. And it might be confusing you. It might be setting you apart. But because you're not experiencing those things, you're able to perhaps see more clearly. You're able to look at the spiritual reason behind this and let go of perhaps the fact that someone, is experiencing an emotional reaction. Is overthinking. Is projecting. And that still doesn't mean that you belong in that situation. To be around that, because you've outgrown this. They're showing me a plant that has outgrown its pot, but instead of like it falling over or dying or anything like that, the roots, they like grow out of the bottom of the pot. And it starts wrapping and holding on to whatever it can get a hold of instead of being in a proper environment. So that's kind of what they're showing me here as an analogy. We have the Knight of Wands, the Five of Cups, and the Knight of Cups for what you're being shown. This does have a lot to do with spiritual realization by tapping in with your clairsentience, by tapping in with the way that you are feeling emotionally and trusting that your emotions are a sense of your intuition, clairsentience. What are you feeling? Not what are you being told to your face. Trust in your gut feeling. When you feel uncomfortable, you're doing little anxiety ticks, you feel somebody being really angry for absolutely no reason. It has nothing to do with you, but they are projecting. Things like this. You're able to pick up on this. But what might be told to you is that, well, you're just a problem, or you need to just do this, or, well, you could have, should have, would have, could have. And so with the Devil and the Page of Wands, you're being asked right now to be gentle with yourself. We do have Ten of Pentacles at the back of the deck. It seems as though you are learning to set healthier boundaries, and you're being shown right now that you might be tempted to take a bit of a stoic approach to certain energies that are in your best interest just to let go. Just because a behavior can be justified. Just because manipulation can be justified because they're running you for a loop. Sometimes when there's nothing that you can do, but there is something that someone else can do. Say, there was nothing I could do. All of my videos were uploading, and it is just going to take forever. If I try to post too many at once, none of them will upload, and it's already going to take many, many days, and my tech isn't working that well, so it's not going to happen. I have to be patient, and it takes the amount of time that it takes. In those situations, there's nothing that I can do. But the groups of people waiting, they can be patient. They don't have to be rude. They don't have to be mean. They don't have to show me the things that they've come to me to ask them to help heal, right? So there are certain situations where maybe you need external help and someone's happy to give you help, and they see it as an opportunity to maybe project at you, to take it as a bartering opportunity. Oh, well, I have something you need. How interesting. We're seeing here, in fact, that there are people in your life that you already know are perhaps not in a good place. They're showing me those people where, those situations where it just seems like everyone loves someone, but you get a weird vibe from them. And maybe you spend some one-on-one time with them, you get to know them, and you learn that what you were picking up on was correct. They're showing me things like this. I do want this to be focused on growth, on self, okay, because we do have the solar plexus card. And so a lot of times this will deal with things like power struggles. It will deal with ego. It will deal with, supply and demand a little bit. It can deal sometimes with the sense of self. And so when someone is treating you like you are not worthy of anything, you are being asked to know that you are. You're being shown that you are. You're being shown the true colors of those around you. You're being shown that you can sit there and stare at your computer for 20 hours straight, waiting for a video to upload, or you can take 3 of those hours and go to lunch with your friend and give yourself the soul food. And that doesn't make you selfish. That doesn't mean that you deserve to get yelled at more. That doesn't It doesn't mean that you're not growing, and it doesn't mean that you're not trying. It just means that sometimes situations are out of your control. And when that is seen as an opportunity, that's a red flag. You're being shown this. Also, sometimes things are in our control, and it might be a little bit of people-pleasing tendencies or feeling bad or feeling even overly empathetic. Well, I can relate to where you're coming from. I remember being there at one point, or I know other people like that, or I can really empathize with your situation. I'm sure that I would also feel disheveled if I experienced something like that as well. This empathy, this sense of compassion. But not to the extent where it allows the mistreatment of you. Not to the point where it allows the manipulation of you. Well, they're hurting, so they can just walk all over me. No. Of course not. Or, I'm hurting. So it's an opportunity, and I need someone's help. So it's not an opportunity for them to walk into your life and act like, oh, haha, you need me. Let's try to pull a power play. No. You're being shown right now that there are some situations in your life that you maybe have been ready to let go of for a while. And they're showing me the devil. This is interesting. I haven't really gotten this this translation for the devil card before, but they're showing me the devil being the temptation to over-empathize. And I don't really think that loving your neighbor, treating everyone as equals, unconditional love, I think that's healthy. I think that's normal. And with the devil and the Five of Cups, you might be tempted to look at the releasal of something, maybe someone's emotions, or leaving that job or leaving that relationship, and you'll probably see an opportunity for self-growth, for self-exploration, for self-creativity, for self-expression. And it will make you happier and probably put you in a more stable, happier place. It might just so happen that the situations here have been in a roundabout way trying to show you that it's time for you to leave your pot, to leave your environment. So it seems as though group number 2, what you're being shown right now, is the fact that you're worthy of more than your current situation. And not in a way necessarily where you need to, maybe you've wanted to move for a really long time and you just have not been able to make it happen. So you might experience something crazy like an infestation with your house getting set up on fire, unsafe people coming to your door or sleeping outside your house, things like this, things that would kind of be the straw that breaks the camel's back. And we see here with the solar plexus, we see here that you might be the kind of person where your sense of self maybe has something to do with the fact that there is no straw that can break the camel's back. Or you can always understand where someone's coming from, even if you don't agree or if you've outgrown that perspective. We see here that you are perhaps aware of your worth, but still in situations where, because you can empathize with someone's capacity to meet you where they are instead of where you are, this over time kind of not taking away from what you know your worth is, what you know your sense of self is, what you know you do and do not deserve. You do not deserve to be treated poorly ever. But that doesn't mean that the situation that you're in changes just because you know that. And so what you're being shown is perhaps that it's time to leave that relationship. Perhaps it's time to leave that house, even though you've been trying to for so long. It's time now. Perhaps what you're being shown is that, yeah, that person, they say that they don't care about your emotions, and genuinely they don't. And it might be because they're dealing with a trauma response. It might be because they're still healing. It might be because that's the journey that they're on, and that doesn't make them a bad person. That's the thing. It's not going to make them a bad person. It's not going to make them worthy of any less. It's not going to make them undeserving of love, undeserving of compassion, undeserving of empathy, undeserving of space, undeserving of even their wildest wishes and dreams in the universe. Being able to understand that doesn't mean that you are undeserving of that too, just because your emotional intelligence is a bit higher, just because you're aware of what you deserve, just because you have a pile of work to do and there's nothing that you can do about it, doesn't mean you don't get to hang out with your friends. You don't need to punish yourself or be punished because you want to, Page of Wands. We have the Knight of Wands, Knight of Cups going down to the Page of Wands, because you want to take it easy for a little bit, because you need a rest, because you need to go outside, because you need to have social interaction. And sometimes when, a phrase that I'll use often is life is lifing at me, or like when life lifes at you. Sometimes it's easy to look around and know for a fact that there's nothing that you did to deserve this. There's absolutely nothing you can do about it. It's not your fault at all whatsoever. And that doesn't change the fact that things are going to occur a certain way. They're showing me as well, like a rumor starting in like a high school or something. Someone makes up a rumor about you and then they spread it, and then everyone's treating you poorly and they're treating you weirdly, and you're dealing with the emotional and mental effects of a situation that you didn't start. It's not your fault. It has nothing to do with you at all whatsoever, but for some reason it feels like the whole world is collapsing in. Things like this. Knowing your worth. This might be something like switching friend groups. It might be something like transferring schools. It might be something, and I know these are big life decisions. The universe is kind of in that if I didn't make you uncomfortable, you wouldn't have moved stage with you right now. It's kind of in this, what is your body telling you it wants to do? Maybe you feel like you are, maybe you're doing the little finger taps, the little anxiety finger taps. What this actually does is it connects your energy. It balances out your energy. So when you're doing this, perhaps what your body is telling you that you need is, one, to not be in that situation, but two, maybe to go internally, balance out your chakras, balance out the elements within you, balance out the zodiac signs, balance out your internal state. Not because the way that you feel is your fault, it's telling you to take yourself out of the situation, but you're becoming aware that what you need in that moment for self-medicine is introspection. A moment within, a moment alone. If you are shifting on your seat a lot, you can't get comfortable in your root chakra. It's an indication that your body is telling you you need to get up. You are sitting somewhere that you're uncomfortable sitting. Your body is trying to tell you to stand up and walk away. Things like this. So, also, what comes up when you're uncomfortable? What's coming up? When you do go internally, when you say, okay, I'm going to stand up and I'm going to start walking away, what do you walk towards? Is it outside? Is it fresh air? Is it somewhere cold? Is it somewhere hot? Is it somewhere wet? These things. Is it something that soothes your inner child? Is it something that is your favorite song or aligns with a vibration that holds a positive memory for you? Is it the smell of pine? Is it listening to bossa nova jazz? These things are being asked to be identified from you right now. Because there seems to be honest with you, positivity in your future. But this is one of those, you have to go through this situations. This is not something where you could have done more or you should have done better. This is something where you get to genuinely see the way that people around you value you when you need help or when they're triggered. You genuinely get to see the way that you view your worth versus the way that they view their worth and are projecting that upon you. What you're being shown right now, I'm going to pull some more cards, okay? Let's see what we can pull from a more Akashic perspective, please. Because I like to, of course, raise the vibration of this reading, as always. Let's see, what are you being shown with the solar plexus? I'm hearing like I am who am. Okay, we have the Hermit. Some of you, have you been like skipping your meditation or something because you have someone else's responsibility to take care of? They're showing me like someone who is like beginning to self-sacrifice, or they've been self-sacrificing for so long that it's kind of like having them feeling down with the Justice. Okay, we have 1991. It's 1991 and I refuse to come back. What song is that? Check the vibe. Okay. Yes. Okay, so we have the Hermit with Justice. with the Ten of Pentacles reversed. Knight of Swords. Oh, you might not want to express something. This is a lot to do with, expressing your sense of self. This has a lot to do with knowing what you deserve and demanding what you deserve. They're showing me like Nicki Minaj. No, she takes like absolutely no crap at all whatsoever. Like this. We have the Ace of Pentacles and the Temperance. What you've been waiting for. Oh, okay, I see. What you've been waiting for a really long time in one or several areas of life is about to blossom for you. The reason that you're dealing with this right now is because there are some weeds in your garden. And they might be energies that are aware that you are having a glow up, aware that you have something to offer. I'm hearing the word clout. Okay, maybe people are around you for clout, but not because they genuinely love you. Maybe maybe you have something really, really valuable to offer and only you can do the thing, and that's great. But just because only you can do something, that may or may not be true, by the way, but only because only you can do something, it might put you in a situation where you have to do something and you're the only one who can do it. They're showing me situations like owning a business where you are the only one who has like 20 jobs, working 7 days a week, 15-hour days by yourself. No one asks how you're doing. You don't have any help. They're also showing me situations like being a single parent. You don't have any help. You have to work. You probably, I don't know if you can afford a nanny. You have to cook, you have to take care of yourself so that you're in a position to take care of someone else. It's not easy. They're showing me situations like this. And that's not to like look at your business or look at your kid and be like, I deserve better. Like, no, like, not like that, because we have the empathy, we have the compassion. What we're looking at here is that the need to express, the need to move is kind of being emphasized. The environmental change is necessary. And we do see as well that some alone time is something that will help snap you back to normal. What we're also seeing is that you know that you don't deserve to be experiencing. Oh, okay. You know from doing internal work that you don't deserve to be experiencing what you're currently experiencing. The universe shows you two things: what you are and what you are not. We live in a dualistic realm. And sure, these things can be emphasized, they can be highlighted, they can be exaggerated, but someone manipulating you, someone yelling at you, someone mistreating you, someone using you, you're not in a place of, maybe you are still wanting to be compassionate, wanting to be understanding. Perhaps you are still wanting to hold space for them because you understand that hurt people, but that doesn't mean that you're going to wonder whether or not you actually really maybe do deserve to be treated that way. No, you're past that. What you're being shown right now is what to do about it. Not in a way where, I wish if my situation was different, then maybe one day I can move. Moving is big. It takes a lot of money. It takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of wherewithal. It takes a lot of mental, physical, financial, spiritual bandwidth to do things like this. And that's valid. And for some people, things are easier than others, right? We walk through cycles that take us years, and then all of a sudden it takes us minutes. And we learn and we grow, and everyone's a little different. What you're being shown right now is situations where you are not being valued and you know your worth. And in a way where you're not going to create a discount on yourself. And you also know that just because someone can't afford you energetically, or they don't have the patience to honor where you're at, or they don't have the emotional maturity to level with you when you're holding space for them, that is an opportunity for you to express. So, what you're being shown right now is how your solar plexus and your throat chakra are connected. How comfortable are you listening to things that you have no business listening to? As far as, say, someone is sitting there insulting you. No business sitting there dealing with that at all whatsoever. I don't care what the situation is. I don't care who you are. You deserve love. You deserve gentleness. You've learned that you don't deserve this. You're worthy of so much more. Now you're also learning how not speaking up for yourself, or this is why I think perhaps safety, or what comes up when you're uncomfortable, we're coming up as things here. When you're around people who openly tell you to your face, I don't care about you, I don't care how you feel. take that for face value. When you're around someone who is showing you that they think that your boundaries, your ideologies, your belief systems, or the way that you function, the way that you think, your opinion is, oh, well, maybe just I'll tell you my opinion over and over and over and over and over again until you roll over. And then I've gotten you to agree that I've gotten you to agree with my opinion, technically, so now we believe the same thing and I can gaslight you anytime that you try to stand up for yourself again. Situations like this. This is what you're being pulled out of. Knowing already that you don't deserve this, but then coming to the place where you're identifying your body, you're listening to what it's telling you, mind, body, spirit, you're aware of what's coming up when you're uncomfortable. Why are you in this situation? It is not your fault that you're in this situation, but how did it get to this point? What was your first sign, right? You can't control what happens to you. You can control the environment that you allow yourself to be in, usually, okay? So how can we relocate, okay? Maybe in an analogy kind of way, maybe in a home kind of way, maybe in a relationship kind of way, maybe in a room kind of way, okay? How can we understand and relocate this energy to a place where full self-expression is encouraged and respected? Okay, so in situations where it's entirely out of your control, you're doing everything that you can, and that's just not good enough for some people. Well, there's nothing more you can do. And there are people, never take no for an answer. Well, that's not how the universe works. Sometimes the universe tells you no. You've been experiencing it, and you're not treating people like that. So, this is why the Ten of Pentacles came out reversed with the Knight of Swords, even though it came up upright a little bit ago. You're being shown right now that you are being asked to almost keep your heart close to your chest right now, because you know what you deserve, and express your truth in a safe environment. There may be people around you right now who ask you a million questions because they want information, and then they try to manipulate your perspective. You might be around people right now where they think that they deserve your doing of a certain task at a certain time, even though you were months overly prepared for the situation, and you can't control whether or not your house gets set on fire, or your laptop breaks down, or YouTube for some reason just isn't uploading videos. Like, there are certain things that are literally out of your control, and you can be on hold for 10 hours, you can call the guy, you can do all the things, you can be a great customer service representative, you can call your insurance agent, you can get your house dealt with, you can do as much as you can do. It's still not in your control. And then you're running around like a chicken with its head cut off, and you probably need some sleep, and you probably need to eat, and you probably miss your friends, and you probably could use a hug. And instead you're getting barked at and you're running around. And this is not, it is lifing at you, like I say, but it's also not. Because as much as you can't control what happens to you in a situation, you can a little bit control the situation that you're allowing yourself to be in. And so this isn't saying that there's anything that you should have, would have, could have done differently at all. But what it is saying is that you get to express your boundaries. You get to have those honored and deserved. You do not in any way, shape, or form need to give discounts on your energy, give it away for free, get treated like less than you deserve. You don't need to self-sacrifice to things that are genuinely important to you because someone else thinks that you should. And when the universe shows you you're not working right now, you can do everything that you want, it's not going to happen. When the universe shows you this relationship isn't going to work, you can scratch and claw and pull at it, you're being told no. If you want to move and you know in your soul you're supposed to move and you just don't want to be where you are, and then all of a sudden you're like, no, well, I have to stay here because I don't know where else to go and it's expensive, and all of a sudden things start going wrong with your house. You're being shown what you're being shown. And so here we have the solar plexus, knowing that you do deserve better, and that some things are out of your control and that can be scary. So allow yourself to be be put or put yourself in situations where you know that you're receiving what you deserve. That's what you're being shown right now, group 2. I hope this helps shed love, light, and clarity on your situation. And as always, I'm sending you all my love, light, and gratitude. I hope you have an amazing rest of your day, week, month, year, and incarnation in this beautiful, magical realm. And I will see you next time. Namaste. Hi there, group 3. Namaste and welcome to your reading. Today we're taking a look at what you're currently being shown, and you selected the 3rd group with the Soul Family card. This energy for this pile already feels like a breath of fresh air. Now, the fact that you selected the Soul Family card lets me know that what you're being shown is that you are loved, you are supported, you are appreciated, but also that you have energies that are around you coming into your life. It's like you might be presented with opportunities, with new friendships, new connections, and things like this. Right now, you are in a place where what you're being shown is how the people in your life are affecting your surroundings, but also how your surroundings and your internal state are affecting the people in your life as well. So with the Soul Family card, we're seeing that there is some sort of central point here. We're also noticing that there is some kind of energy of something shifting, but in a beautiful way. I'm hearing in a roundabout way. So something that might seem direct might be like the universe's way of showing you something else. The focus here is on your connections with others, and also the connection you have with yourself, the connection you have with the divine, and of course this is the Soul Family card, indicating that you're dealing heavily right now with soul contracts, people who are on your vibrational level, people who share the same core values or beliefs as you, and nobody is a carbon copy of us, technically, like as an individual. So you might be meeting some people who resonate with your spiritual beliefs. You might be meeting some other people who have similar material goals. You might be meeting other people who have different or similar views in different areas from you. And so naturally there will be dissonance. Naturally there will be vibrational resonance as well. So what we're looking at here with the Soul Family card is that there seem to be some souls, some beings in your aura right now that are kind of working their way in. And it seems like there are some energies that are either on their way out or that are still getting maybe like karmically dealt with, or the contract is still getting tied up so that this can be cleared and these energies can come in. You might notice there are some people in your life that kind of show up and then leave. You might notice there are some other people in your life where you really want to connect with them, but you feel like you're not quite in the place yet to connect with them. This can look like wanting to connect with somebody, really vibing with them, but wanting to make sure that you're showing up authentically or consistently or in the right vibe. I know sometimes when I'm not in when I'm not in the vibe that I want to be connecting to someone with, sometimes I'll pull back. What we're seeing here is that there is a foundation of unconditional love between a few different souls here. We do have Soul Family coming out, and there are a few little heart shapes on here, and there are like 3, 4, 5, there are a ton of little hearts on this card. What you're noticing here is that there's something here that might seem like it's a cycle, but it might really be a reiteration of a lesson. By the time you see this, we could be in a retrograde season. Perhaps you're dealing with a lesson that you have cleared out a few times in your life. You might be walking through the 2nd or 3rd time that you're learning something, walking through an experience. Right now we're looking at patterns in your life, the way that it connects with those around you. And with Soul Family, you're noticing that there's a clear slate, that there's newness, there's freshness, there's vibrational resonance coming in. And for this to come in, what's happening right now is you're making space for these energies to come through. This is not to say that the people in your life that are your soul family are going to show up when you're ready. It's not to say that people in your life that are your soul family are on their way out. It is just to say that just like all energy, everything is always moving and changing. And there are some beautiful energies that are in your aura currently that are trying to enter your life or that are ready to enter your life. And right now you are focusing on the central point. You're focusing on something either inside of you or in front of you, or perhaps the universe, your practice, or something. You're focusing on something that is the central point that is helping you clear out all of the energies around you. And on the other side of the shift, we're noticing that these energies are going to come in. So what you're being shown right now is that you might be more supported than you think. You're being shown that you might be more loved than you think. You're being shown that you might have more friends, more supporters, more options in maybe love, in friendship, in business than you think. There are some situations that are coming out here where you're being called to remember that you are divinely protected. And also with the Soul Family card, I'm getting to tell you not to disclude or discount spirits either. We are all, as we know, spiritual beings having a human experience, but If you're noticing the same kind of spirits come around you as well, or for some of you, if you're feeling called to tap in with mediumship, expand a specific spiritual gift of yours. Spirits meaning it can be the spirit of, say, bear spirit. It can be butterfly spirit. It can be palm spirit. It can be things like this as well. It can also be like earth walker spirits. It can be Archangel Michael, however it resonates for you. There's something here about taking care of yourself in a new way or going back to an old way of taking care of yourself. There's a situation that you might be surprised to find kind of showing back up. You might find that it's time for you to branch out in a certain area of life and that your soul family will support this. This is something that's going to make you stand out, that's going to make you unique, and it's going to be something that is encouraged by yourself and those around you as you continue to take care of yourself in an uplifting and more evolved way than you have been. And I say this in a loving and just growth way, right? So, with the Soul Family card, what you're currently being shown is that the more that the more fearlessly you step forward in your life, the more courageously you step forward in your life, the more you're going to be supported in your endeavors, and the more you're going to walk the path where the people that you are seeking are there. For example, say you love to paint and you are connected with someone who also loves to paint, but maybe you only paint as a hobby sometimes. The more that you paint, the more this connection will grow. That's the situation, the energy that we're being shown. That's not saying that that is tried and true. Those energies are not mutually exclusive, right? That's not saying that's a rule. That's just saying that that's the energy here. Say you want more support in business, right? And you might want to branch out in a specific direction. You might notice that the more you branch out in that way, the more networking opportunities you get. And you might think, I need the networking opportunities to branch out. You might think I need to branch out to have networking opportunities. And what we're noticing here is that they're kind of coming in together to mutually support each other. So what we're seeing is a beautiful alchemization of a few really large energies coming into. These are going to be things that call in your soul family. And of course, some people believe that there are, the term soul family, take it in the way that resonates with your heart and your soul where you are right now. We're speaking of vibrational resonance. You may be noticing that there are some people that you were drawn away from that you're now being drawn towards, and vice versa. Okay, so right now you might notice the people in your life shuffling, or even just the people you feel drawn towards shuffling around. And with that being said, you may also notice at this time, for example, you resonate with different friends, or you resonate with a different group, a different community, but you're going to see this coming in. You're going to see this coming full circle, and it's going to be beautiful for you. With the Soul Family card, I am getting to tell you that you have somebody here thinking about you, and they're sending you lots and lots of love. And I think that you might know who this is. And perhaps you are not speaking, and I'm not getting there's any animosity or anything, but somebody wants to come through and send you some love. And so I felt that that needed to be honored. So before we get into your tarot cards, I'm going to pull a journal prompt for you from my guided self-exploration journal, just so we can see what you're being shown and kind of see where we can explore the self. Okay, ooh, we have describe your ideal morning routine and describe your current nighttime routine. Interesting. So here we're taking a look at beginnings and endings. Here we're taking a look at the way that you start your day and the way that you end your day. These things are a little bit more important than we might think. And perhaps you have a structured routine that really, really works for you. Maybe there's one that works for you and you've fallen off of it a little bit. Maybe we're focusing on skincare. Maybe we're focusing on meditation. Maybe we're focusing on texting people back or journaling. Whatever this resonates with for you, there's going to be something here where if you can lock in your morning routine, you can lock in your nighttime routine, and it doesn't have to be so rigid and strict, but honoring that and creating some sort of system that works for you, whether it's super go with the flow and creative, or it's very structured and time blocked, however you do you, right? But if you can zero in on the way that you start your day and the way that you end your day, then this will create more space in your life. And it will also be something that helps you call in your soul family. Maybe you have a nighttime skincare routine, and maybe you start getting into kind of skincare, and you start asking the questions in the comment sections, and you're connecting with the skincare people, and then you start learning about new things, and it helps you branch out. Maybe this has to do with painting. Maybe this has to do with writing down all your ideas or making sure that you take care of yourself first thing in the morning. Maybe this has to do with your meditation routine so that you have a clear, concise start to your day. We understand the benefits behind having a morning and night routine. So you're being called to look at your ideal morning routine and your current nighttime routine, and maybe see how these two things bridge into each other. How your morning routine affects your day towards your current nighttime routine, and how your current nighttime routine perhaps affects your morning. So you're being asked to explore these two things and kind of see where you would like to lock them in. Specifically, when it comes to perhaps your manifestations, your goals for the future, your goals for yourself, mind, body, spirit, progress, things like this. It can be any or all areas of life, right? But we do have an energy here of your routine being connected with your soul family. So allowing these things to blossom together, because there was an energy that came out in the beginning that was speaking about wanting to connect so that you can grow, or wanting to grow so that you can connect. And here we see that they are happening simultaneously. And so the energy is there of these two things coming into connection and perhaps feeling friction or feeling like they might bump into each other. You're being asked to create space in your day by perhaps allowing the people, the situations in your life to shift. Take a look at your ideal morning routine and take a look at your current nighttime routine. So that is just some interesting messages from Spirit. So what are you being shown? What is group number 3 being shown right now? Ace of Cups. Self-love. Vibrational resonance. Understanding that you can be a vibrational match to like one particle of you. Can vibrationally match one particle of someone else without resonating with all the rest of them. And sometimes 99% of your particles will resonate with 99% of someone else's particles. And it's about finding that resonance, honoring the dissonance, but finding the resonance. Okay, because the more that you focus on that, the more you will draw in the things that align with you. This is the same way that manifestation works, the law of attraction works, but we're looking at the way that this is calling in your soul family. We're looking at the way that this affects your connection, the way that this affects your routine. Okay, so what are you being shown? What is group number 3 being shown right now? Page of Pentacles, 10 of Swords. Okay, there seems to be some sort of new beginning that's trying to pop up for you, or that you've been trying to create for a while. Maybe has been a bit difficult. It's been perhaps stressing you out a little bit. We see something here about you wanting to, I'm hearing that song like, I said what I said. So there's kind of this energy about perhaps wanting to have enough. King of Swords with the Moon, for some reason it's giving like privacy, wanting to have privacy, wanting to have time, wanting to have space, wanting to have that nighttime routine where you have just a moment in yourself to like kick it in your bathrobe and your fluffy slippers and like take a bath and like read your favorite book, have some candles, things like this. So what you're being shown right now is that the direction that you're being encouraged to move and to work in and to take action towards this new beginning that's kind of occurring for you is going to be one that helps you create space. There may be also this energy that's present right now where you feel like you need space in order to move forward here. So this is what we're taking a look at. And I'm getting to tell you that you're really, really supported and that you are leaving the energy of the struggle here. This is one of those situations where your spirituality is developing. Your spiritual and psychic gifts are developing. We did have this come out earlier as well. You might be noticing that you're connecting with the spirit of things a little bit more. And the more that you take a spiritual and ethereal perspective towards the tasks that you have at hand, towards the connections that you have in life, the more you kind of take I'm a spirit and you're a spirit and we're all part of the great spirit, this kind of perspective, the easier things will be for you. We see you coming into a position of authority, and we also see that this slow-moving energy, they're showing me a snail, this slow-moving energy as well as a goat, might be exactly what has been making you feel stressed out about the speed, the difficulty of the speed manifesting. It's creating emotions. It's creating the need to have space. It's creating the need to, with the moon, maybe create like intimacy in your connections or be around people that resonate with you that can do the same journey. Maybe there's something really unique about your life or yourself or the things that you do, the things that you believe, the way that you act. Maybe you're a painter and you don't know other painters. Maybe you're a spiritualist and you don't know other spiritualists. Maybe you own a business and you don't know anyone else who does. There are things like this where the people that resonate with you are coming around you right now. And so it's going to be important for you to allow that soul family to come in to help you normalize those energies you're trying to grow into. Because you don't need to grow into these energies to deserve having people in your life or to make space to have people in your life. And you don't need to have those people in your life so that you can have permission to grow, so that you can have more accessible growth. These things seem like they can be one or the other, and you're being encouraged to release that and trust that there's a reason why everyone around you right now is around you. And again, someone wants to come through and send you love. I'm picking up on there may be someone, this can be in spirit or the higher self of somebody that you know and love. It can be one of your friends, something like this. Someone is coming through, okay, for sure, to let you know that they maybe can feel that you're experiencing something right now, and they want to send you some love and extra energy and support through this. And they wanted me to communicate clearly to you that they are sending you love and support. Okay, you are supported, you are loved. And this seems, again, this is the Soul Family card. So we have something here. I'm hearing Healing by Yourself. I'm hearing the song is How to Be Alone by Rachel Gray. Okay. What you are being shown right now is that you have healed so much that you are very happy and your life looks a lot different than the way that it used to. So when you look at your surroundings and you look at where you're going, you see maybe not as many people that resonate with you and a very long journey ahead. And that energy can be a bit daunting. And you're being shown right now that it's all going to be worth it very, very soon. It is already worth it, but it's going to increase. We see an increase in your abundance. We see an increase in your spiritual gifts and abilities. We see an increase in your authority. We also see that this isn't the purpose or reason behind why you're doing what you're doing. It might be something so simple as wanting to just luxuriously enjoy your tea or coffee in the morning and maybe waking up and just hitting the ground running every day. Wanting to get to take a luxurious nighttime bubble crystal candle bath at night, but not having time. We're seeing something like this where you are being called to trust the process. You are being shown that you are growing further than you think. And also that you've been healing more than you think. You are being shown at this current moment that you are supported, you are loved, and that a flower usually doesn't bloom all at once. Some flowers bloom one time once a year. Some take forever to bloom. Some bloom repeatedly all of the time. But every single type of plant, every single individual flower of those types of plants, each one is a little bit different. So, without comparing yourself to someone else, trust that you can still be supported and loved and encouraged and around vibrational resonating individuals without either being on the same path, without blossoming at the same time, without heading in the same direction. But there is still a vibrational resonance, and there's a reason for that. And you're being asked to look at the purity, the innocence, the support, the love, and the divine help, protection, direction of these things. This is kind of giving the energy of looking around and not seeing anyone else on the spiritual path, or looking around and not seeing anyone else who owns a business, or looking around and not seeing anyone else who works as many hours as you do, or has the same hobby as you do, or insert your situation. But the things that you do understand is maybe you're a painter and your best friend is a dancer. Maybe you don't have the same craft, but you still are dedicated to a craft. You're both artistic, and that's the vibrational resonance. And this is not to say that you don't get to make friends with painters, but it's to say that maybe hanging out with that dancer friend might bring you closer to your own artistic expression, and it might even introduce you to other painters. But those painters might not have the same emotional friendship that you have with that dancer friend, and everything is very specifically resonant in your life. Can't be 100% of the time. And even that's not 100% because that's an always or never statement. So you're being shown right now that you are stepping into prosperity. You're stepping into abundance. There's a lot that you have not been shown that is kind of breaching its way into your life. And by not what you haven't been shown, it's that we see here that you were focused on healing. You're focused on putting one foot in front of the other. You're focused on being and receiving a support system. Opening up that heart chakra, opening up the throat chakra, opening up the pineal gland, opening up the crown chakra, feminine chakras. And we also see here that you're putting in the physical work, you're healing. We have all of actually the chakras coming out in these cards today. What you're being shown is that all of those moments where you needed to put one foot in front of the other and just kind of trust that it gets better, trust that you're going to be supported, trust that you're going to land somewhere better than you thought it was going to be, and you just kind of keep putting one foot in front of the other and trying and finding gratitude, being fulfilled and grateful, doing your hard work, working for work's sake, enjoying what you do, hanging out with that friend even though they don't get this certain part of you, finding the gratitude, bringing love into the situation, redirecting your focus there, working on this. We see you have been working on this. And what you're being shown is that everything that was underneath the surface is now coming to light. And these are all positive things. These are all prosperous. These are all like rewards for past effort. Say you are, they're showing me someone like investing in a 401k, right? What you might not know is that you're investing in your 401k and that 401k is getting matched. What you might also realize is that you need a specific period of time that it needs to kind of sit there before you can utilize it. And so we see this period of time coming to a close and you realizing that this energy has been matched. And so this is going to surprise you when it comes in, although it's going to match the vibration of the energy that you were blindly trusting intuitively. We see you showing up and putting in the hard work. And you're also being shown right now that when you are 98% of the way there and you're not aware of that, that last 2% is often the hardest. Right before you give up is usually right before the breakthrough. So, knowing that that is not what you're going to do, that is not who you are loved and supported, everything is intentional, trust that you're about to have a breakthrough. And what you're being shown right now is that there is some sort of position of authority, there is some sort of life-changing, I'm really getting like comfort. These two kings, they're giving, like say you work your entire life so that you can have enough money to live comfortably. I'm not saying you become a trillionaire and retire in Fuji. I mean, if that's you, absolutely get it. I love that for you and slay. But what I'm saying is that say you have to work really, really hard for a really, really long time just so that you can get out of survival mode. Or so that you can maybe take weekends off. Or so that you can do that nighttime bubble bath self-love moment. Right? We see that you are making time for these things. We see that you're healing through survival mode. So you don't feel that anymore, but maybe your situation hasn't changed all that much. We see your situation changing, and we see it being a lot grander than you would have expected. We kind of see like the universe matching the energy that you've put in, and then you getting to reap the results of both of those energies combined. So it's twice as big as you had bargained for, which is beautiful. We see that these things were hidden as well, because if you had seen the size of the end result, you maybe would have overworked yourself even more. And Ten of Swords with the Eight of Pentacles already gives currently overworking. It gives sometimes sleep deprivation, sometimes stress, sometimes when you have to write a paper and you're just staring at the blank page because you don't know what to do. It's giving that, that what I learned in boarding school is that SpongeBob episode, and he spends like an hour writing the word the, and he stares at it. It's like giving this energy. And what you're being shown is that it's because you're so close. You are so close to this breakthrough. And the focus here is on the connection between you and everyone else, the connection you have with yourself, the connection you have with your business, the connection you have with your craft, your art, the connection you have with your friends. And so with the soul family, you notice that you are supported, you are loved, you are divinely protected, there's vibrational resonance everywhere that you look, and things are better than you think they're going to go, and sooner as well. We see a slow progression here from the Page of Pentacles, the Ten of Pentacles, Eight of Pentacles, King of Pentacles. You might feel like something was hot and cold, up and down, and then all around, and then really fast and really slow, and just not at a consistent pace. You are also being shown right now from that you will soon have that full circle view. You might think that something was going fast and then slow and then up and then down and then left and then right. And sure, that's true, but you're about to have a bird's eye view, where from this bird's eye view, you're able to see, oh, I was spelling out the word gratitude. I wasn't just walking in circles and making weird shapes. Oh, I was following the pattern of this particular mandala. I was getting dizzy. It turns out I was walking in the shape of a chokure. And is that an analogy? Yes, but I'm really never truly surprised to learn something magical like that occurs at this point, because at this point I will never say never, and I just did. So, sometimes there's kind of this energy of You can do it. You can do it. You are being asked again. Right now, just generally, I'm getting that it's a little more important than you think, okay, to take care of yourself in your routine, in your morning and in your night. How do you start your day? How do you end your day? And feel the connection between you and the things around you in the bulk of your day. You're being shown that there's something that you used to be interested in, or you used to put time in, or it used to be a dream of yours that's coming back around. And we're also seeing that something that would be a luxury to you that comes with, perhaps they're showing me education. They're showing me maybe you want to go back to school, but you need the time and you need the money and you need the support, and you want to not do it because you want a degree, you want to do it because you want to be there, like those kind of things where the substance matters and the resources matter. Perhaps you want to start getting acupuncture, but maybe it's expensive, or you don't have the time, or you need to take a few hours off afterwards, and that's just not available to you. There are things like this. Take it however it resonates for you, but there's something that's coming back around. Maybe you wanted your business to look a certain way, and you kind of let go of that vision and let the universe interpret for you while you were doing what worked. It turns out that you were being guided into that vision after all. So there are things like this that are becoming shown to you over time. Right now, you're being shown what your morning and night looks like and how that affects your day. What your morning and night can look like and how that can affect your day. And also that it's okay for you to give yourself a break sometimes, and it will be easier for you to show up sometimes as well. You're also being shown that there's a lot more potential for growth, especially in connections right now, and in a very generalized way, okay? Not in a way where you say you are really great friends with somebody, and that person has the ability to really affect your business. It's not, it's about the connection. There's a lot of potential there for the connection. It's not the potential there because that person can change your life. Sure, maybe, but that is not the point. What you're being shown right now is the substance of the connection and how beautiful that is and how loved you are, how supported you are, the true vibrational resonance that is there in the present moment. And you're also being shown that if you're tired right now, that's valid. You're also being shown that if the universe is kind of putting a brick wall in your path and you keep running into it, like, no, I gotta get past it. Sometimes the universe gives us a wall so we can lean up against it. Sometimes the universe gives us a wall so we can literally just stop, so that we can sit down and cry and realize how tired we really actually are. Sometimes it gives us a brick wall so that we turn to the right and we wander down a path that we wouldn't have taken ourselves down necessarily. So trust that you're in the right place at the right time, and that you're being shown right now capacity for growth and expansion through your current situations. And they might be coming piece by piece. One bit from this person, one bit from that person, one bit from this craft, another bit from another craft. They're showing me that painter and artist situation that came out in the beginning. It doesn't have to be that, of course, specifically. Or dancer and painter, is that what I said? Oh my gosh. Where you can resonate with the love for the craft. You can resonate with the artistry, and there's something beautiful and magical and resonant there. There's an opportunity for expansion and genuine connection there. And that's what you're being shown currently. And there might be something that a painter can learn from a dancer that they might not be able to learn from other painters as well. So keep yourself open to that, and without trying to mold yourself as a painter into a dancer, and so on and so forth. But trust that there's always a reason for the season. And also, if you're tired, that's valid. If you need a better nighttime routine, that's valid. If your nighttime routine needs to involve turning off your phone, watching a K-drama, getting in a bubble bath, and going ham on the crystals, you're allowed to do that, and that's very valid. It doesn't have to be that. It doesn't have to be so spiritual and girly and K-drama-y. That's just my vibe. I am a Cancer Venus. But with the King of Swords coming out, we do have authority. We have truth coming out, the Nine of Wands. This combination, it's giving finally getting there and being so tired that you pass out. Happy that you made it there, but passing out when you get to the top of the mountain and then waking up and being like, oh, okay, it's the next day. It's the next morning. It's a new dawn. It's a new day. It's a new life. And I'm feeling good. So what you're being shown right now is that you are so close to being there. When you're there, it's going to feel so, so, so amazing. And you've already learned how to bring those feelings into the present moment So focus on the integration of those things with the connections around you. All flowers do not bloom at the same time. All flowers do not look the same, whether or not they're the same type of plant. Some take forever to bloom. Some bloom a million times a week. Some bloom once their entire lifetime. And none is more precious or beautiful than the other. They merely all just are. So focus on the fact that someone's coming through and telling you that they love you, they support you, and they can feel that there's a reason that they feel the need to send you that love. Okay, so you are loved and supported. Also, the things that are shifting around in your life right now, it's doing so. It might be confusing, but the universe is, let's use a hiking example again. You're climbing the mountain. The universe is like making your bed so that when you get to the top of the mountain, you can pass out. And making sure that when you wake up, you're looking at the beautiful view instead of like looking at a rock and needing to find out where the view is. You might be really tired. It might be dark when you get there. You might be a little bit cranky. That's not the point. The point is that you made some lifelong friends along the way. The point is that you learned how to connect with the plants and the animals and read the wind and understand when there's a storm coming and find natural resources. That's the point. That's what you're being focused to look on. It's kind of like a connective review before everything kind of blossoms. And when it blossoms, you'll have more time and you'll have more space. But the connection and the time and space, growth, all of these things, it's not one or the other. It's not a chicken or the egg scenario. It's actually each one is a petal of the beautiful flower that you are blossoming currently. And so allow them to unfold at the same time. Allow yourself to be shown the things that were previously unseen to you. I'm getting there are going to be some truths coming to light for you that are going to make some things make sense. King of Swords, they're just reminding me, Spirit's reminding me right now, King of Swords does not take any BS. So there might be some things where you're being called to go over boundaries right now, where you're being called to take time for yourself unapologetically right now, where you're being called to say what you mean and mean what you say, because those who mind don't matter and those who matter don't mind, that kind of thing. Okay, so that energy is kind of coming out. It's giving unit review. Remember that you're loved. It's giving like finals. It's giving being able to go back to school, being able to explore that hobby, being able to be in that place you've been trying to get to or you wanted to get to and you released it for later if it came around. And we see again this being so close no matter how far. Yeah, so we see this energy of just being tired, putting the work in, putting the hours in, and this is also why you're being encouraged to set gentle boundaries with yourself. Take a look at what your ideal morning routine looks like, and take a look at your current nighttime routine. So as your soul family comes in, trust that your soul family can be plants and animals in the sky and the wind and the spirit of the eagle, and also your friend and your coworker and people who only resonate with you 1%, but they really resonate in that 1%, or people that resonate with you 99%, regardless of that other 1%. You're being called to focus on the fact that yes, everything is your soul family, and that you are more supported than you think. You might be feeling lost and alone because you're in a transitional phase, but you're 99% of the way there. And the universe is setting up a surprise for you that is going to have you feeling pleasantly surprised. And I'm hearing the song At Last by, is it Etta James? Absolute Queen. Where you're just kind of sitting down, you have this refreshing energy, this breath of fresh air. At last, I can buy myself some freaking paint, right? Or at last, I can take a bubble bath at night because I'm not working till 1 a.m. anymore. Things like that. At last, I have a friend that I can talk to and we can FaceTime each other and do absolutely nothing, but just the presence is things like that, right? So, trust in the process. I know that's not the favorite thing to hear all the time, but this is what you're being shown. You're being shown that you've done so much work. You are really, really close. You are so infinitely supported. You are amazing. There are tiny little tweaks you can make to the way that you start and end your day so that you feel better during your day. Things are a bit easier on you because you're tired, you're burnt out. There's a lot that you're doing either physically or on your mind, or you are very responsible, something like this, right? So we see that there are tiny little things that you can start and end your day with that are just for you, that will make you feel special and happy and also bring you towards community. So don't knock that either. And also that you are going to very soon experience something twice as big as you would have dreamed it to become. And it's going to be really awesome. Okay, you're going to love it, and you're going to get a lot of clarity too. You're going to see the full picture. You're going to see the maze you were walking through, and you're going to be like, oh, that's so cute. It was making a bumblebee. Instead of being like, why the frick am I going back and forth and back and forth? And oh my God, they were cute little stripes. Adorable. Love it. Bees are awesome, right? So we see you getting this perspective and a pleasant surprise as well. So that's all I have for you, group number 3. That's what you're currently being shown. I hope this helps shed love, light, and clarity on your situation. And I hope you have an amazing rest of your day, week, month, year, and incarnation in this beautiful, magical realm. I love you. Thank you for being here, and I'll see you next time. Namaste.